Hello, and welcome to the Sunday broadcast. My name is Marc Stuart, just the Scottish Medium, or the Scottish Medium, and I'm here tonight with my wife, Ying, and we'll be doing basically 1 hour spiritual service clairvoyance style readings. So if you bear with me for a few seconds, let me just play my normal introductory music. So, if you're a regular, cover your ears. If you're not a regular, let me explain who we are, what we're doing, and the rules of tonight. There's 2 people here, myself and my wife, Ying. You will see Ying typing in the messages. I can never persuade her to actually show herself on camera, although I am going to show you her hands in a second. I am a church-trained spiritualist medium. I'm actually one of the church mediums at Dunfermline Spiritualist Church. Like all spiritualist churches, it has pretty much been closed since end of March with the UK lockdown. Since then, my wife and I started doing Facebook streaming broadcasts. We started very basically just with a phone. It took us a little bit of time to build up some speed and learn how to do this properly. Not going to show you the camera of my office, but I am literally sitting surrounded by 4 monitors. My office, my desk has become a broadcast studio to enable us to work this way. We do this every Sunday at 8:30. I am not a church, not pretending to be a church, but I am going to go through the normal routine that you would expect in a divine spiritualist service. Once I'm finished with explaining, introducing, I will ask you to join me in a prayer. I will give you a short spiritual address. Then we'll get into clairvoyance, and then we'll do a prayer at the end. If you want a message, you have to type on the screen, I want a message. There's time delays, so that means I can't come to you as I would in a church and say, can I work with you? We just take it that if you type you want a message, you'll get one. If you don't type that you want a message, you will not get one. Excuse me while I put my fingers up. There is a time delay with me working with spirit and giving you evidence. The time delay varies. Sometimes we're lucky and it's down to 10 seconds. Sometimes it can be as high as 35, 45 seconds. Now that creates two very distinct problems. Number one, I'm trying to keep the link open to spirit and to yourself. That gets, the longer the time delay, the harder that is. Second, when I give you evidence, I do need to get feedback. And the longer the time delay, the longer I have to sit here twiddling my fingers and my thumbs, waiting for you to give me feedback. I don't like repeating myself, but sometimes it does look as though I'm repeating the same thing over and over again. To be honest, I'm just killing time to get feedback from you. When you give me the feedback, obviously, I'm not asking you to give me information, but what I am asking you to do is be absolutely clear in the clarification. So if I, for the sake of argument, if I say, I've got a 12-year-old boy cycling on a rally bike on the wrong side of the street, don't come back to me and say yes, yes, no. Say yes, 12-year-old boy, or yes, boy, but 15. Say yes, rally bike, no, wrong side of the street. It basically helps me to know whether I've interpreted it wrong, whether I've gone to the wrong person, or whether I've just got it completely wrong. The way it works with me, I might be given something that is symbolic. I might be given something that I can interpret from my own history, or it might be something that means something specifically to you. Sometimes it can be all three. The better the feedback you give me, the better it helps me to get more information from spirit. The messages are short. Do not ask a question. So don't say, I want to hear from my mother and what does she think about X, Y, Z. These are not private readings. You can see my website flashing up. You will get messages like that. So if you want a private reading, come and book it. Come and book one with me. I do not charge for what we're doing today, but I do charge for private readings. I'm not saying that as an advert. I'm just explaining. I'm going to try and give as many readings tonight as I can, so I'm keeping them short. You'll get enough evidence so you can recognize somebody. As soon as you can recognize somebody, then I'll move on to get the message. That way I can give as many messages as possible. If you get a message, please have courtesy to stay to the end. This is not a cinema. I'm not saying don't get the sweets out while you're watching us, but you generate energy that I use to make a connection. The more people there are who focus the energy, the easier it is to get messages from spirit. And if you get a message and say, oh, bye-bye, that's me, I'll see you next week, then you're taking away. You wouldn't do it in a church. You wouldn't do it in a stage event. So please don't do it here. So if you're not prepared to sit to the end, please leave now. That's pretty much about the way it works. That's pretty much all the rules. Just one or two other little things. If you ask for a reading, your names go into a box and Ying chooses your name out of the box. So the earlier you request a reading and give Ying your name, the greater the chance you've got of getting a reading, because you'll get asked constantly. People ask how she chooses the readings. Well, let me show you. But that is how your names are being chosen tonight. As I said, I would try and get her to have a live camera, but she's that idea. Okay, so if everybody would please get ready to join me in an opening prayer. Dear Father, Mother, Spirit, thank you very much for bringing us together. Thank you for the love and energy that everybody is generating tonight. I can feel the energy. Thank you for opening the door to the other side. Please bring our loved ones forward. Please help them to connect. Thank you. Amen. Okay, thank you, everybody. So I'm going to talk to you just for a few minutes. These are my famous stories everybody says are wonderful, and I'm sure you're all just telling me nonsense. Let me show you something. Hydesville is historically for spiritualists one of the most important places ever, because that's where it all started. That's where the Fox sisters actually started. And all the churches all around the world, all the spiritualist churches, whether you think the Fox sisters were real, whether you think they were fraudulent, whether you put faith in them or not, doesn't matter. All the churches recognize that as where spiritualism started. Around the world, there are many places that doesn't have as strong a spiritualist movement as we have here in Scotland and the rest of the United Kingdom. I don't know how many spiritualist churches there are in Scotland. It must be something like about 400, maybe even more. Honestly, nobody's counted them. I mean, for example, my wife Ying, in her work, came across somebody about 8 or 9 months ago, was wearing a crystal with angels on it. Ying said the obvious, are you a spiritualist? The woman said, yes, I run the spiritualist church just along the road. Now, that along the road was 10 minutes drive from where the two of us stayed, and we had never heard of that church. And I'm an active church spiritualist medium. So as I say, we just don't realize how many churches we have. And obviously, with the lockdown, not being able to go to the churches, a lot of us are missing it, including the mediums ourselves. Now, luck is a very strange concept. I am exceptionally lucky. Why? Because of Ying. We've only been together for about 11 years, and we were talking today, and we were joking about various bits and pieces, and I didn't realize until I actually sat down and thought about it for a second how lucky I am to be married to her. She is the energy of my life. She is, I'm not going to say she's my sole reason for living, but she comes very close to that. I cannot imagine my existence on this world without her. And I'm sure that we all have people like that in our lives. If we don't have people like that in our lives, I'm sure we can find something that we are so lucky about. It might be your children. It might be your parents. It might be your next door neighbor. It may not even be a person. It may be somebody that you've never heard of. But basically, just think for 5 seconds and just identify who is that lucky person, who is that situation that you are so lucky to have in your life. And say a prayer. Say thank you to Spirit for the serendipity that guided you to that person and that person to you. But much, much more importantly, just take a few seconds the next time you see that. If you live with them, then fine, say it now. If you don't live with them, pick up a phone, go and see them when you can, and just say thank you and let them know how lucky you are to have them in your life. And I'm going to leave it at that. And hopefully that gives you something to think about. Okay, so give me a few seconds just to get myself tuned in. So 1 second, we're having a problem. Darling, who is it?
She's trying to send in a message to everyone.
Right.
This one.
Excuse me for 1 second. We've got somebody trying to hack us again. Let me just find them. Right, Harleby Ritchie, you are about to be banned.
Trying to send every message to our people who joined us.
I have just blocked Harleby Richards. If you have received a private message from Harleby Ritchie, please ignore it. Please delete it. It has no authorization from ourselves. Let me just make sure. Excuse me for a few seconds. This has been going on for a few weeks. We've had people under various guises try to attack us and hijack us. So let me just repeat. If you have received a message from Harlaby Ritchie, delete it. More appropriately, send her a message back and tell her on my behalf, excuse me for 1 second, Spirit, please forgive me. Tell her Marc Stuart Medium told me to tell you to fuck off. And you can quote me on that. You can even report me to Facebook for that, because Facebook are not doing their job properly, allowing people to deal with this. So if you receive a message, just basically block them, delete it. But if you feel inclined in quoting me, those are the words to use. Marc Stuart Medium told me to tell you to fuck off. Excuse me while I get back and tuned into Spirit. Okay, Jason John Hanlon, coming to yourself for a message. Jason. Jason, I've got a woman coming forward, quite elderly. Hi, Jason, I see you. Jason, I've got a woman who's quite elderly. She's in her, I always find women difficult to judge in terms of age, but I would say probably upper side of 70s anyway. Maybe even her 80s, maybe even older. Very weak before she passed. I get the feeling that passing was quite long and quite drawn out. It wasn't a painful death. It wasn't a painful transition to the other side, but it did take time. She was very weak. She was relying on everybody around her. I don't think physically relying on, but emotionally. She needed a lot of emotional support at the end. I'm getting that very, very distinctly. The hair was grey. I mean, completely grey. I'm going to say this, I'm not quoting the movie title. I mean this quite literally, but the hair was shades of grey. Maybe shoulder length, maybe tied in a ponytail or put up. I get the feeling she had her hair at some point in her life. She had her hair sort of pulled up over her head, or she wore a hat that was circular. I just want to put my hands up to. I want to put my hands on my head for some reason. Maybe a head injury as well. So, Jason, do you recognize your grandmother with any of the hands on the head, hair sort of being pulled over, maybe a hat? Right. So maybe I'm misinterpreting the long distance, but I get the feeling it's, as I say, long. There was certainly something long about it. Okay, thank you, Jason. That's what people, just to interject, when I say give me specific feedback, that's what I mean. Right, Jason, let's see why she's coming forward. Something to do with your breathing. I don't think it's physical. I think it's symbolic. Jason, can you... My speaking's also being interrupted. Jason, just now, can you understand not being able to speak? I'm not going to say coherently, but not being able to... My mouth is getting sore. I've got a sore throat. I'm finding it difficult to speak. And I don't think this is her. I think this is... Oh, my throat is getting incredibly sore. Jason, can you understand a sore throat? I mean, really sore throat. I'm actually finding the back of my tongue as well. Oh, God, excuse me. Jason. Right, so you can understand the muddling words. Okay. Can you take the sore throat as well? Jason, my throat is agony. Seriously. I think maybe the sore throat is symbolic. But in terms of the muddling your words, have you had yourself examined? Now, you know that I don't diagnose. I'm not medically qualified. Okay, thank God, because if this is a non-medical diagnosis, oh God, let me get your gran to take this back because I can't even speak. Okay, basically, Jason, do something about your incoherence. Seriously, get that looked at because that's what she's drawing attention to. It was the inability to speak. Now, just be absolutely clear, I'm not a medical, I do not diagnose. I know I keep saying it and I keep diagnosing, and I'm not saying diagnose, but I am saying get this looked at. I don't know what it is. I'm not getting any feedback from her as to what it is. So don't panic, but don't ignore it. Get it looked at, get it investigated. Seriously, Jason, that's tonight's red alert. Get that looked at. Don't ignore it. May just be being too tired. It may just be you're too tired. Maybe you're maybe having, maybe whatever the reason, but get that looked at. Okay, coming to Paul Smith. Paul, are you still with me, Paul? Paul Smith. Paul, can you take a man in spirit? I don't think he's the way he's presenting himself. I don't think he's that old. Let me just give you a second, Jason. I'm in my 50s as well, and I do get my speech muddled, but there's a medical reason why I get my speech muddled. So just don't write it off to age. I'm not saying panic, but I'm repeating myself, Jason. Just get it looked at. Okay, sorry for that. Sorry for that. Getting sidetracked there, Paul. I've got a man coming forward. Difficult to put an age on him. Certainly mid-40s or upwards. He's not showing much grey hair. Maybe a few strands of grey hair, but dark black hair. This is somebody in spirit. So are you saying, two men in spirit that fit this description, Paul? A man, mid-40s upwards, short black hair, maybe a few grey hairs in the side of his black hair, but short, well-groomed. A man that looked after himself, well-dressed, professional. Not saying he was a professional. Okay, so basically, okay, let's see if we can work out which one. Bear with me, Paul. Let's see. Just give me time to get some more information. Excuse me for 1 second. I've still got that sore throat from Jason. Oh, Jason, your grand's a strong spirit. Jason, go with the one who's the professional. So you're saying yes, your cousin. I'm assuming that you're saying yes to me saying professional. 1 second also, let me just reinforce that message that Ying is putting up. People, you only need to put your names down once. If you repeat yourself, I'm not saying I'll block you, but you will not get an extra message. So, Okay, definitely a professional. So professional bodybuilder then. Okay, Paul, so let's see what your cousin's got to say to you. Paul, have you had an argument with a woman recently? Very, very recently. And I'm not talking about a minor disagreement. I'm talking about a serious argument. A woman or a young woman, more a young woman, I would think, or somebody that's very energetic. I don't know if it's a young woman or an energetic woman, maybe both. Yeah, so it's definitely your cousin. As I say, it was professional, well-groomed, very... So, Paul, have you had an argument with a female, a woman? Yeah, yesterday. Well, it's a very direct message for you, Paul, from your cousin. Go buy a big bouquet of flowers and do it tonight. Don't leave it till tomorrow. Deliver them in hand and apologize. No ifs, no buts, not getting any indication of what it was about. Okay, so make that 2 bouquet of flowers. Maybe not a bouquet. I don't know how young your daughter or stepdaughter is, but no ifs, no buts from your cousin. In fact, your cousin's making it quite strange. He's giving me a fist, and he says, if you don't do this, he's going to reach out from the spiritual world and he's going to knock you on the head like that to bring some sense to you. So it's a very direct message. He's not giving me any personal information, and even if he did, I'm not going to reveal that on a public broadcast. But you, whether you're apologizing or not, you are to wait till the end of my broadcast, go to the nearest 24-hour petrol station if you have to, buy a bouquet of flowers for your wife. If your daughter is, if your daughter or you said your wife's daughter, so I'm assuming stepdaughter. If your stepdaughter is old enough for flowers, make that 2. If she's not old enough for flowers, get her some candy. So, Paul, no ifs, no buts. That's what your cousin wants you to do. I'm going to leave you with that. And his love, which is strange. I don't usually give love, but for the way you described him, that seems pretty unusual, even for him. I think he's doing that to underline how serious the message is for you. I'll leave you with that, Paul. Right, coming to... Well, I don't know where you are, Paul. If you can't deliver them, but basically, if you have to go to a courier, or if you have to phone up a company, a florist, and get them delivered tomorrow, just put your money in your wallet and get it done. I'll leave you, as I said, I'll leave you with that. And remember, Paul, it's 2 for the daughter and for the mother. Okay, Kathleen. Kathleen, I'm finding it. It's not 2 people, but I've got somebody coming forward that's presenting themselves or feels like a twosome. And it's the word twosome. It's not 2. It's very specifically twosome. Yeah, well, Paul, sorry, Kathleen, but get it sorted. So, Kathleen, can you understand somebody coming forward that you would describe their personality as a twosome? I don't know if this is describing somebody that's got a split personality, or if there's like they're part of 2 people that you would always think of as a twosome. I'm even finding it difficult to work out whether it's a male or a female. I really am finding it Right, so you understand who I'm talking about then, okay. Like I say, finding it very difficult to get beyond 2. Okay, let's just, you recognize who it is, so let's just, oh God. Kathleen, I don't know if this is the person, because like I say, I'm finding it difficult to get any information from them. Okay, so it's definitely your brother. Is your brother in spirit? So let's just clarify. Kathleen, is your brother in spirit, or is your brother the person that we're talking about? Clarify that for me, Kathleen. Is your brother in spirit, or are we talking about your brother? Right, okay. Right, so your brother is the subject of the message. So let me, okay, we've got that cleared up. So let me see who I've got coming forward. Yeah, you're right. That's why I couldn't get past the twosome, because it's 2 people talking about your brother. So yes, not a baby anymore. It's an angelic beingness. If you arrive in spirit as a baby, you grow up in the spiritual realm. And when you get them coming forward, it's very difficult to conceptualize to people how powerful these spirits are. Your grand's here as well. So that's the 2 people. That's why I couldn't get beyond just the pure energy of this person. But they are focusing on your brother. This is about your brother, Kathleen. So let me just see what they've got to say. Kathleen, are you aware of the eating problem that your brother's got? So, Kathleen, are you aware of an eating problem or eating disorder that your brother has got that he's not talking about? I don't know if this is overeating or if it's undereating or if it's eating the wrong food. It may just be as simple as he's not eating the right food. Is he on a medical diet? Does that make sense? Like a diabetic that's eating sugar, or somebody that's overweight that's eating sugar, or anorexia. I'm getting a lot of again, it's the split personality, and it's the 2. There's definitely something going on about his eating and his food. So, Kathleen, are you aware of his eating problems? Right, well, speak to him. There's something going on just now. Maybe it may well be, yeah. Speak to him, because I think the eating disorder is coming back and he's not talking about it. So, Kathleen, clearly he's not talking about it. He may not even be aware of it himself. So, it's your loved ones in spirit. It's a very direct message. It's about your brother. It's directed at you, Kathleen. Go and do some investigation. Just maybe talk to him. Just keep an eye on him. See what's going on. But like I say, it's some sort of eating disorder. He may not even be aware of it, or he may be ignoring it, or he may be hiding it, or it could be a combination of all 3. But I'm sorry, you're going to have to put your motherly, sisterly, are you his big sister? If you're not his older sister, you're going to have to be the older sister. So I'll leave you with that. Okay, Margaret Robertson. Margaret Robertson. Coming to Margaret Robertson. Margaret. I've got a man coming forward, Margaret. Margaret, are you still with us? Okay, thank you, Margaret. I think it's the spirit that's coming forward. There's something about this man. The word I'm going to use, now, I'm trying to put this into context. This is a feeling that I'm trying to express as words. Something to do with missing. Either the man is missing, or there was something about him that was missing, or the word missing was used to describe him. But that's the feeling that he's putting in my head. It's more than a feeling, it's an obsession. It's like an absolute obsession that either people had about him or he had about something or other people. So Margaret, can you understand who this man is from that feeling? It's overwhelming, it's overpowering. It's just a total feeling of being missed. No, it's not like, somebody's a long way away, you're missing somebody. It's a complete overwhelming emotional feeling of the expression of missing. So Margaret, can you make sense of this? I'm finding it very difficult to get anything from the man beyond it. He just seems to think that you can make sense of this emotion, this feeling, this word, to identify whoever this is. It's the key. This is the key to identifying who this man is. So Margaret, right, okay. Let me see what else I can get from him. Somebody that maybe worked in the oil industry, showing me it's not oil industry, but the sort of steel oil cans you get. The big, they're huge. If I was standing, it would be up to here on me, up to my chest, about 3 feet tall, big, huge oil drums. I don't know, again, if that's something he worked with or if it's something that's you would associate him with. I don't even know if the oil drum's what he's missing, but that's what he's showing me now when I asked for more. Big, solid metal oil drums. If you were in a truck and you were driving across the desert, you would pack 10 of these into the back of the truck to carry petrol in. It's that kind of tanker. It's not an oil tanker. It's a kind of metal tank that you would carry petrol or oil in. So, Margaret, between these two things, can you recognize this man? Get the feeling he's... Okay. So, Margaret, is your partner in spirit? Are we talking about your partner, or is your partner in spirit? This has happened once tonight already, so I'm going to double check. I thought it was the person in spirit, and they were talking about somebody here on the earthly plane. So, is your partner still with you? Right, so he's still here. Okay, so this is about your partner. So, let me see if I can get anything more as to who it is that's coming forward. Definitely a man. Margaret, is your father-in-law in spirit? I'm getting the feeling fatherly, not your father. Is your partner's father in spirit? Definitely on his side of the family, definitely male, definitely father or fatherly. It's either his father or his grandfather. Quite a weak man when he passed. Right. I'm going to leave it at that because I don't want to spend a lot of time. As I said, I want to keep the messages short. Let me see why he's coming forward. Let me see why he's talking about your partner. Margaret, I'm going to ask you a personal question, so I'm going to try and not make this too public, but what the hell, let's just get out with it. Are you and your partner thinking about getting married, or did you have marriage plans interrupted by the lockdown, etc.? Does that make sense? Can you understand that? Direct question, Margaret. Are you and your partner thinking about getting married, or are you planning it, or have you been discussing it? So, Margaret, I know we're public. Okay. Well, very simple. Remember, Spirit. Oh, I love when Spirit do this. Remember at the beginning, I gave you a little speech about how lucky I was to be with my wife. Well, Margaret, this is a message not for you. Actually, it's for the two of you. I can't single out which one of you it's meant for. It's meant for the two of you. Each one of you is the luckiest person on this planet to have the other. You have your future father-in-law's blessing, and he wants the two of you to get married as soon as possible, as soon as is physically possible. I am a licensed reverend, but I can only marry you in New York State in America. But seriously, get married. That's important. I don't know what the importance is. I mean, if the two of you are living happily together, in this day and age, there's all sorts of forms of marriage. But basically, it's a double message for the three of you. Oh, sorry. He's seen what you've said. He's actually bringing tears to my eyes. He's so happy for his son. He's happy for the two of you. Excuse me while I try and hold these tears back. Basically, he's also got quite a caustic sense. Remember I used inappropriate language earlier? Well, he's basically asking a question. Why are the two of you messing around? Maybe it's not the marriage. Maybe it's something that the two of you have been discussing that you understand. But basically, tie the knot, get it done. Make your partner's father your father-in-law, and make him the happiest man in spirit. Excuse me for a few seconds, people. Let me just get my emotions back under control. Let me get myself back under control here. Oh, sometimes Spirit do that to you. They make the emotions so overpowering. Okay, coming to Denise Curry. Denise, coming to yourself, Denise. Denise, I've got a woman coming forward. I get the feeling she was quite elderly. I'm going to put her. Denise, I'm going to put this woman in her 80s. She might be older than that. She might be younger than that. But look and feel, I'm getting the feeling that she's in her 80s. You know how elderly women sort of sometimes have curly, wavy hair? Thick, curly, wavy hair. That's what I'm being shown. I mean, it's completely white or grey, whatever shade of white or grey you want to go with. But it's a complete set of hair on her head. Circular, couple of inches off the skull. So Denise, the woman is before she passed, she was quite frail. I mean, I'm not saying she was ill. She wasn't sort of wasting away in life. She was quite active up to the very end. But towards the end, she was getting quite frail. So, Denise, can you recognize this woman? Can you recognize this woman, Denise? Okay, thank you, Denise. Okay, Denise, I don't know if this is literal or if it's symbolic. You're a medium yourself, so you know the way this works. I'll give it to you first and see if you can make sense of it. She's showing me a set of playing cards. Now, not oracle cards, not tarot cards, not spiritual reading cards, a set of playing cards. The kind that you would play patience with, and that's the word I'm getting. So I don't know if it's symbolic of the game patience or if it's literal. Can you understand a set of playing cards? The kind of things you'd play snap with, patience, poker, basically poker cards, playing cards. The full set of cards, hearts, spades, king, queen, joker. So it's either patience, and I'm being shown the cards to express that, or it's literal. So just give me a quick yes or no about the cards. Can you understand the significance of a set of playing cards to you just now? Okay, so it's the literal cards then. So, is your mum still with us? Are we being directed for a message about your mum? Or is your mum in spirit? Don't think your mum's in spirit. I get the feeling your mum's still with us because this is very current. I don't think this is a memory. Like I say, I think this is current. So Denise, is your mum still with us? As in not passed over? Okay. Right, so your mum's in spirit then, okay. Have you been trying to communicate with your mum? Is that it? You've been trying to communicate with your mum and you haven't been able to make contact and you need to have patience. So please don't tell me you got a message from your mum last night. So Denise, does that make sense? Am I interpreting this the right way? You're trying to make contact with your mum. You're finding it difficult. You haven't been able to get a reading or make contact with her, and you're having to apply patience. Does that make sense? Can you understand that, Denise? Or have I got this completely wrong? So Denise, don't know what the time delay is. Does this make sense to you? Okay. So basically, you got it yourself. You did the interpretation. Thank you. Just be patient. When your mum has the ability, when she's able, your sister will help her through. I think that's maybe it. Stop trying to connect with your mum. Concentrate on connecting with your sister, and she's going to help your mum to come through. So I'll leave you with that. Okay, coming to Fee Morton. Fee Morton. Fee, I've got a man coming forward. Fee, I've got a man coming forward that I'm just going to tell you what he's showing me because it's really unusual. A man dressed in a gorilla outfit. I think this is a memory. You're welcome, Denise. Sophie, I'm being shown a man. I think, to be honest, I'm not even sure it is a man. He feels like a man, but I can't see him because he's dressed, the kind of thing a fancy dress. I mean, we're not talking actor, we're not talking somebody acting on Planet of the Apes. We're talking about somebody that is in a fancy dress, Halloween gorilla outfit. Sophie, does this make sense to you? Somebody in spirit or a memory of a man dressed as a gorilla, certainly gorilla head. And like I say, it's not somebody trying to do something like Planet of the Apes. It's very, very much Halloween party. So, Fee, does this make any sense to you? It's very specific. It's not symbolic. This is a memory. This is a man dressed like a gorilla. I think it's a memory that I'm being shown. Okay, sorry, Fee, but I'm going to have to open this up because this is too specific. So this is an open message, everybody. Can anyone take a man from spirit who is very, I'm sorry, Fee, this is not a symbolic message. This is too literal. This is a man, a memory of him dressed in a gorilla outfit. I'm saying Halloween. It may not necessarily be Halloween, but this is a man dressed as a gorilla. Some sort of party, some sort of costume, fancy dress style party with a gorilla. It may not be a full gorilla outfit, but it's a gorilla head. Definitely a gorilla head. If it's a chimpanzee, then I apologize, but to me it looks like a gorilla head. So can anybody understand this?
I think between Kaz and Fee, there are two of them.
So I'm telling the people this is not a message about Halloween. So please don't misinterpret this. This is a specific memory of a man dressed in a gorilla's head. So Kaz, if you think it's yourself, then give me more confirmation of this. It is a man with a specific memory or a specific memory connected to this person in some way of a man wearing a gorilla's head. Fancy dress. Now, if nobody comes forward to claim it, I'm going to move on. So I'm going to ask the spirit to pull back. Okay, Fee, I'm coming back to yourself. I've got a woman coming forward. She's showing me, I don't think this was her age when she passed, but you definitely think of her in her late 50s, early 60s. So I've got a woman. I think she was older when she passed. So I think this is a woman that you've maybe lost contact with. You knew her when she was in her late 50s, early 60s, but she's definitely now in spirit. So it may be somebody that you lost contact with before she passed into spirit, but she's showing me herself, which basically means I think you knew her, or the time you tend to think of her in her late 50s, early 60s. So for a woman, that still looks quite youthful. I'm in my 50s. So for me, men between 55, my age, up to say 75, we rapidly get elderly like that. Most women still look quite youthful in their 60s until they get into sort of like 70s. Right. Okay, Fee. The woman's nodding at that. So that's a yes. We've figured out who we've got. She wants to talk about a garage. Sophie, have you got a problem just now with a garage? Either a lock up, you lift the door up, you drive the car in, the door goes down. And I think it's the door. My hand suddenly wants to move like that I'll just show it, get in the camera. I want to move my hand to sort of like show the garage door. So do you have a problem just now with a garage door? Do you have a garage? That's the first question. Does the garage have a door? And do you have a problem with the garage door? So try and make sense of that. Does that make sense to you, Fee? Do you understand a garage or a lock-up garage. Not, not somewhere you're going to take your car to get mended. This is a lock-up garage. Right, so your parents of the garage. Okay. So, go speak to your parents. There's something about the garage. I don't know what it is. It may be that they have to go into the... Yeah, tell them to go into the garage. I think they've got a damp problem. Or maybe a structural problem that they're not aware of. Or if they are aware of it, they're ignoring it. So it's either something about the garage structurally, dampness, there may even be vermin. Get them to have a good look in the garage. And if they know what the problem is with the garage, tell them to not ignore it. Sorry, I can't be more specific than that. But definitely, if it's not your parent, if it's not yours, somebody close to you, problem with a garage. Right, so yes to damp and mice. Well, basically the message is get your parents or whoever to get that fixed. Obviously, the mice are probably minor in terms of the greater scheme of things, but the dampness could very quickly get a lot worse. So that's the message for you. Pass that on to your parents. Get the garage dealt with. Maybe get some mouse traps as well as getting the dampness looked at. Okay, coming to Julie Williams. Julie Williams. Julie Williams. Julie, can you take someone in spirit who has the same name as you? You're welcome, Fee. So, Julie, can you take someone in spirit with the same name as yourself? I'm going to assume a relation. I'm not going to say a relation, but obviously if they've got the same name, it implies you're named after them. So somebody in spirit, female obviously, with the same name as yourself. Can you take a woman in spirit called Julie? So does that make sense to you, Julie? I'm going to be honest, I was making the assumption of Julie. It could be the same last name, yes. It's somebody in spirit with the same name as you. I'm more inclined to go for the whole name. Right, it must be the surname then. But it's definitely the same name. They look very much like you as well. They look very much like an older version of you. So I'm going to take it as a blood relation. Something about hearing as well. Suddenly want to go like that. I mean, I know you're not speaking and I can't hear you. But I suddenly want to put my head like that, to turn my ear towards you. Now, it may be physical. It may be an issue with the neck or the head. But I'm more inclined to go for hearing or ears. And yet my hand is touching the sides of my face. So, Julie, does any of this make sense? Turning your head like that, touching your cheekbones like that, hearing with the ears. It's either the person in spirit giving further confirmation or they're talking about something going on just now. So, Julie, can you make any sense of this? And again, I want to turn my head like this. Right, it's your mouth then, okay. Like I say, my hands were going up like that, and then, yeah, I was touching the side of my face. It was me that was interpreting it. It was the movement of the head like that. It made me put my hands up to my mouth. So yeah. Have you had it looked at? Again, I do not diagnose, so do not come screaming back to me saying there was nothing wrong and you said to go see a doctor. And I'm not saying go see a doctor, but have you been ignoring it, whatever it is with your mouth? Have you been having it treated, or have you been ignoring the treatment? Does any of that make sense? Yeah. We'll get it looked at. Again, I do not diagnose because I'm only telling you what you're already aware of. Yeah, you're ignoring it. Well, a very, 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 very firm, I am not saying what's wrong. I'm not in any way implying you need to panic about it. But at the same time, stop ignoring it, get it dealt with. Full stop, end of conversation, end of message. Okay, people. Well, thank you for joining myself and Ying tonight. If you would please join us in a closing prayer.
This is the top.
So just give me 2 seconds. So please, everyone, if you would join me in a closing prayer. Dear Father, Mother Spirit, thank you very much for bringing us together. Thank you for the messages that we were able to deliver. Thank you for the spirits that came forward. Please help us all to get through the week. Please put a smile on our faces. Please, let us say thank you to the person we love the most. Please take the energy that we've generated tonight. Please find somebody somewhere on the planet and use that energy to help them in some way. Thank you. Amen. Okay, everybody. Before we finish up, just one final request. End of the month, we will not be doing our usual broadcast. We will be doing a Zoom broadcast. And I'm asking anyone that wants a direct message from me, which will last 5 minutes in real time because we'll be using Zoom, to make a £5 donation, which will go to a local hospice. If this works, then I'm going to try doing this at the end of the month, each month. It will be very much trying to give money to charity. I'm now putting up a different website along the bottom. It's quite easy to find. Just go to my main website, https, remember the S, www.markstuartmedium.com/charity-readings. There's a website there. You can click and pay £5 and you'll get the Zoom link sent back to you, if not immediately, ASAP. Ying and I are not making any money out of this. We don't normally ask you to pay anything for these services, but we're going to try and chance our arm a wee bit and see if we can raise some money for charity. So please have a look at that website. If you want to have a proper, there'll be many readings, there'll be 5 minutes, because we're going to try and do 10 of them in the hour. It'll be a normal service, but it'll be Zoom, so everybody will see you. You'll see me. It'll be in real time. And as I said, 10 times 5 less the percentage for PayPal. We'll send the money to the local hospice immediately afterwards. It is actually the hospice that means a lot to me. So this isn't just me asking you for charitable contributions. Let me make you laugh for a second. Let me find it. That's me and my father. That was me a long time ago, graduating from university. And that's my father, who's now in spirit. He actually passed away in that hospice that we are trying to get. Oh, thank you, Denise. Brilliant. So everybody else, follow what Denise is doing. As I said, £5, private readings, last Sunday of the month. We won't be doing our normal service, we'll be doing a Zoom service. So thank you, everybody, for your time. Thank you for your energy. And I'm going to say good night from both myself and Ying.